Hello everybody. Worst binge yet. There was one on Saturday that I talked about. Selected the tarot cards. And then made Sunday, Monday. Went back to a situation. Very risky. And worst, or deepest, I wouldn't say worst, deepest shadow binge yet. I somehow am still alive. I'm not sure how I did this, but I'm very paranoid, and there may be repercussions of this one. So I'm kind of, I not only do the substances, but I also slither, and the slithering is getting more and more out of control. So I don't know what's happening, but I'm very paranoid and I'm walking around in short regards. Don't ask. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to take a cab home. Every little thing right now is to me paranoia, paranoia, paranoia. Oh my God. Every single person I think is in some kind of conspiracy against me. So this is what addiction is. I've showed it before. I haven't showed the worst parts of it recently. And the worst parts may actually come out now, but that's okay. It's okay. I mean, I've got to do something about this. Don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something about it. Like, move to the country with my kids. Maybe. We'll see. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. It's an hour or two later, maybe 2 hours. I'm still at Sherway. Worst of the panic attack is over. But anxiety is still very high. Paranoia, high. Very high. But just kind of amazed. Still here. So they're getting worse and worse and worse, and I will not come back from the next one. I know that. At the very least, it'll be like, heart attack, arrest, something, I don't know. So I'm eating really bland food here because of, everything from the night. My stomach is probably not going to take spicy. So, but I need food in order to take my diabetes meds. I'm eating just a few pieces of this so I can take the meds, drink some cola, 7-Up, because they didn't have Coke, they only had How do people eat this stuff? It's so bland. Not even salt and pepper. I think that's enough that I can take my meds. And then I have to stop at the bank again just to check something. And then I have to walk back to the car because my house keys are in the car. So by the time I get back to the car, it's like a 15-minute walk from here. Then I'll see. I'm pretty much down. It's been some time, so the driving should be okay. But I'm anxious, So the anxiety, I'm driving while anxious. It's okay. The worst of the panic attack, I think, is over. But I'll make the decision when I get to the car. Wish me luck. Hello, everybody. I'm home, safe with the kids. Mouth is very dry. Anxiety and paranoia have subsided a bit. Just getting home was big, and seeing the kids. Yes, I know, sweetheart. Daddy's a bit messed up. Not a bit, but You know that, And if it wasn't for you guys, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be here now. Yeah. So, one of the babies there, one of my biggest pushes, They're not human kids, but they're kids to me, And where's Agita? And there's Agita. Okay, I got home a couple of hours ago and made it safely. Replied to my friends, my cat rescuer friends, about getting home safely. They know about my binges. I tell them, I'm willing to tell them details, but they don't want to hear it. They want PG-13 versions. And mine are mine's a triple X. Such a thing. It's really something, So, but they know the gist. So, and they know how what happens to me, and how much stuff I do, and my slithering, the basics without the details, and they worry about me, And I also heard from someone from the Underworld, Now, I don't want to talk about that because, again, it's other people involved. There's possible legal issues, and it's very, very personal. I mean, and when I write, I don't hold anything back, everything. And I remember, even though I can barely communicate when I'm there, I go down to one brain cell. But, and I become entirely, physical, which normally I'm the opposite. I'm not very physical, but I'm articulate and all that shit, But now, when I go there, that's my shadow, and it's just the regression and the turning into a one brain cell alpaca, Fuck me, it's like, well, sort of, I don't know if that's an expression that I would use, but it's just, I keep saying this, unimaginable delights and unspeakable horrors. The biggest horror is me being my opposite, and how needy and greedy and whatever I get, compulsive, and my opposite is and one of these days, and they're going further and further and further, and one of these days I will not come back, and it's pretty amazing that I have survived to this point, and mainly for the effort I put into not doing it more often. Besides the financial, which is increasing, and that's the whole thing with trying to move to the house in the country, and less temptations, even though you can party anywhere, but less temptations, and also lower cost of living out there, So again, and I won't be able to because I've been burning through my savings. There's still some, there is, So, but I can't just piss it all away, and then in the process also kill myself, and then, it won't matter, savings or, property or anything, and the main reason is, of course, the kids. So, and I keep saying, and it kind of comes up, I am privileged or fortunate in some senses to have the resources, to have this place, to have the country house, to have the RSPs, and to be able to come back here to my kids, the cats. But on the other hand, the resources, which are diminishing, make it much harder for me to, stay clear. I can't do it every day because the way I have to do it is very expensive, So the dual addiction part. So it's like shit, so I'm kind of forced, though. I went on Saturday, and then I went again today because there was something kind of. There was a particular pull to that situation, but then it just got completely out of hand, And when I'm in that mode, I don't say no to anything. Now again, I don't want to talk more about this. I can write about it, which I haven't tried to publish yet, yet. And when I write about it, it can be presented as, fictionalized and all of that stuff, and Dusty Dumpster and Weasel, and I don't hold back. I remember all the details, and I know precisely what happens to me and what happens. All the details, and that's sort of the curse. All the details come back to me, So I made it back, and deepest, darkest shadow exploration yet. And I'm sort of actually over the edge. I'm not at the edge anymore with those. I'm over the edge. But I somehow come back to the kids, and, but it's getting closer and closer. So, okay, for now, yeah, I won't be able to for a while. The physical constraints and the financial I'm paying off. So I'm going to go to the house on Wednesday, and I will talk to. I'm seeing the contractor and then the second contractor to get the house ready. I mean, it's kind of my only hope now, that the rechanneling, and just I'm planning on actually just mostly living out there with the kids. So let's see what happens. Next few days, it's not going to be. It was so dark, so deep, and so strenuous, and so difficult also for the people that I encounter, because I'm opposite of what I normally am. So and very expensive. So I'll be paying that off for a while. So the next few days, one day at a time. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to bed soon. I might actually just edit and post this podcast today, because this is this is a very close call and a return to ordinary world, but just by a hair, by a cat hair, I made it back, Yeah, so it's, and I don't want to talk more about slithering. I use my term slithering, but, and I've mentioned before in certain podcasts, obliquely, I mean, other people are involved, but I have said that it does involve sort of anima issues for me, or, and what is sort of called feminization. I've also said, sissification. But I don't want to talk about all of that more here. It's personal, and I do write about it, But I have said before many times that the other podcaster, the famous one, who's also influenced by Jung and is political, and is a household name. Former psych prof, now turned YouTuber, podcaster, but he has millions of views. I have 20 to 40, but it's probably just as well I have 20 to 40 because of all that other stuff. I don't know if I wanted to reach a lot more. If somebody comes across it and they find my stories, my pushes and my pulls, even without the details, I don't provide the details here, but you do get a sense of the struggles, the pushes and the pulls, and all of that stuff, and my framework. the so-called return of the hero or anti-hero, and the inner dragon and the inner party person, and the this and the that, the inner. We started with werewolf, I think. So I mean, there's 300 podcasts about this. This exploration has been very, and people say, it comes across. They go, you have the resources to do this. We're strugglers, just over the edge. We're struggling, day by day, and I'm struggling, but in a different way. And in a way, the fact that I have the resources makes my trying to stay clear so much harder. I mean, I keep saying resources are limited, but and I've been going through them. So it's really time to do something, and I'm not sure what yet. But for now, I'm putting my my hopes on the house, and moving out to the country. So there's all of that, So and when I come back, the returns are getting harder and harder. Pun not intended. So actually puns not intended. So it's like they're getting harder and harder and harder to return here, But I need to return here. This is my kids, and I do have my friends, text contact, and email contact, and who worry about me. So I've got that, and I want to eventually publish. Because the stories, I think, are they're important in the sense that I tell the stories that a lot of people don't have the time or the resources to write, because if you're a daily user, you're just struggling to stay alive every day, So I can go for like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, in that time, in betweens, I can write, and I've got the time and and I stay clear, and I've got this place. So all of that, I'm not a daily user, but I've been on the cusp of it a couple of times, So, and they're escalating. So it's all really messed up, So anyway, and I keep saying, I mean, that's why in my podcast I keep showing the kids, because, they are my biggest pushes. Where's your brother, sweetheart? There's the other brother, and Agita is there. So I got the kids, I get my friends, even though I don't see them much, but we're in, fairly, fairly close email and text contacts, every 2-3 days, So I do have my friends, my four human friends. That's it, Well, you know what? I got to include my contractor too. It's taken time with the house, but he has been a friend, and he has been there for me, and he worries about me. So and so that's all that's happening. I'm back. That's it. I'm back again. I don't know if I can I don't think I'll make it back next time, but. At the same time, there's going to be polls, not right now because of how harrowing it was and how expensive it was and how hard it was on my body and what happens to me. So, but they'll come back. We all know that. So, it's a possession. It's and as I said, I don't want to talk too much about the other aspects. I've mentioned, the substances, and the substances are getting harder. And I've also mentioned a couple of times, without going into details. Oh, I was talking about the other podcaster. The other podcaster, former psych prof, Jungian, I mean, he talks about shadow and anima and societal roles of masculine and feminine and all of that stuff. And, and he uses a lot of the Jungian terms, but it's theoretical. It's based on, it's political. It's based on, mythology and stories and all of that stuff. My stuff is I go right into shadow. I mean, extreme shadow explorations, regression, and anima confrontation, and the masculine feminine stuff. All of that, I do it in the most extreme ways possible. I explore shadow and anima and all of that stuff. The stuff that the other podcaster, famous one, talks about, writes about in his famous four, and he's got certain opinions about trans and all of that stuff, whereas I go in a completely different direction. I know I'm talking a little bit more about this than I normally do, but at some point, that's why I want to be able to eventually publish some of the stories, because there's a lot of issues and based on myself and on observations with experiences with people that I slither with, so to speak. So and the strugglers, what I call the strugglers, but the most incredible people you can imagine. Such a tough life, I keep saying this, but I think it came up. I said today that when I was able to speak, that or yesterday, that William S. Burroughs. I mean, I believe is one of the last people who wrote about addiction. Non-judgmentally. So I'm no Burroughs. I know that. I'm the first to admit it. But I try not to. It's very hard not to judge myself. I don't judge others, but others judge me. Even though they try not to, or they say they don't, and I judge myself. So that's my thing. Because where I go is so much the opposite of myself. So you can talk about shadow theoretically from a Jungian perspective, but I don't do that. I actually live it, and then I write about it, and I talk about it here, but very generally due to privacy issues and considerations, all that stuff, legal issues also. So, you know what? This is getting a little. I'm actually going to post this podcast today. I'm just going to do it now, because it's a day one of return. It is actually. I mean, it's not even day one. It's like day zero. Yeah, I guess it's day one because I made it. I made it till the evening, to the afternoon. We're on day one. I haven't made day one yet, but we're on day one. So I will. I think I'm gonna. Let's do a tarot. That came up too. I picked a couple of cards in the last one, and let's see what the card what today's card is. I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be death, but let's see. Which doesn't literally mean death, but let's see what the card is. So let me do a shuffle. Okay, I just shuffled the tarot. Not even Professor Shuffle. I just shuffled the deck, and this one was kind of hiding inside. I saw a little thing of it, and it kind of spoke to me. So, as I said, the person who taught me, said she felt the heat from them. I don't, but there's certain cards that sort of, and this one, it was hiding, but I kind of saw a little edge of it, and I said, this one. Let's see what it says. Queen of Cups. Now, I think a woman over 25 years, blue eyes, fair brown hair, soft, gentle, motherly. Did I pull this one before? I don't think so. So, again, I don't know much about these. I just, it's just, I don't take them literally, but it's interesting, and it's now become a tradition after a binge. Slept about 2 days ago. But, I was not expecting to binge again like 2 days later. But here we are. So I think the last one was the Two of Pentacles. And I think the King of Swords was it, So let's see what Queen of Cups is. Okay, it's interesting, even though it doesn't seem to apply to the binge, but Queen of Cups, tarot card meanings. Queen of Cups is nurturing, caring, compassionate, sensitive. When you see her in a tarot reading, you are embodying her nurturing mother energy. And it's a particularly caring, compassionate card. You may be using your financial resources to care for others at this time. Now, that last thing that I read, it applies to the binge in a very twisted sense. And again, I don't want to talk about that more. But there is possibly, a very twisted sense, even though what comes out of me in my binges is not the nurturing anima, not the mother. It's something else. It's a different feminine energy. Actually, a friend of mine, a former colleague at Europe, we haven't really spoken in a year because I think she disapproved of my binging and my addictions, and the fact that when I told her about the whole anima thing, she was like, oh, you should be not that negative anima, not the negative feminine energy, but you should be focusing on the positive anima, stuff, the nurturing and the, which I do, I suppose. I told her I do. I mean, that's the pushes against the pulls, because it's the nurturing energy for my kids, who happen to be cats. It's I do nurture, and that's what I return for. That's what I put effort into staying clear as long as I can. And then the first one, this one, Queen of Cups, compassionate guide to emotions. Queen of Cups is a tarot card, exudes compassion, emotional depth. A little bit of that came out last night, limited bits, and intuitive wisdom. I don't think so. Representing the mature, instinctual female. Now, that's the anima that I would like to, and the feminine energy, nurturing my kids, my cats. That's what I would like to focus more on, not the feminine energy that comes out when I'm, partying, slithering. Oh my God! Oh, I don't know. So we got it's not a bad card, Sort of applies, it's the anima that I want to, I want to focus on if I can, So I don't know. It's just one day at a time, and I, as much as I don't want to go back to where I was, it's pretty unspeakable horrors. But it's also unimaginable delights, and it's it's just it's a releasing of a part of me that I have repressed for so long. So it's like I don't want to talk about it because it's just too personal, and I don't want to give more details because I'll write it. That's what I need to. It's my only freaking way out of this is to write the details. And, somebody said to me, yeah, writing is good, journals and all of that, but, for yourself, which is why I do them. But I do think that some of these stories should be shared at some point. And this is again, the opposite of completely, it's, the other podcaster, the one with millions of viewers, Jungian, former psych prof, political, whereas I'm 1,000% non-political. I'm just a dusty dumpster rodent weasel slithering snake, so I'm I go into shadow and I explore anima in societally. I mean, as I said, consent to controls, all that stuff, but the slithering in shadow in ways that are explorations that are pretty, societally not acceptable, So that's as much as I want to say about that. So, Queen of Cups. You know what? It's time to edit and post, and just scheduling. Today, I'm safe with the kids. I'm home. I made it back. I'm not sure how I made it back. And the worst part was the paranoia. I haven't had paranoia like that in probably ever, and I don't normally have panic attacks. Only associated with end of binges, but this one, I had pretty much a full-blown panic attack, So, but that was, I think, substance-related, and also the explorations, the stuff that I explored that, as I was starting to come out of it, I'm like, what the fuck? So, I did that, and that, and that, and that. So that's what, it's like, ooh, So as I'm coming back to the ordinary world, as the ego is coming out of id and coming out of shadow, as the ego was just starting to resurface, that's when it was like superego, all that stuff. It was like panic attack, and also lots of substances and not sleeping and not eating and all the usual stuff, So, but there has been some anxiety, some paranoia after coming back, but there's just relief that I'm still here and that I got back, which, as I keep saying, it gets less and less likely each time, So what we're going to do is, right now, I'm just going to feed the kids. I was going to work on a journal entry, but I replied to my friends, just text. I'm going to paste those into entries at some point, but maybe not today because today I just need to go to bed. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed the kids. Boys are playing there. I'm just going to feed the kids and maybe I had lunch, so I might eat something later. So and I need to sleep. I need to just go to bed. So let's see. At least rest. That's step one. Well, step one was coming home. Getting home alive. Step two was coming home and letting my friends know that I made it. And did I say that I did actually email my former analyst, and I don't really expect to hear back from him, but I just told him that we parted ways over a year ago, and I told him that he was right in terms of how the addiction was going to progress, and it was going to get worse on the path I was on. It was going to get worse and worse, worse and worse, quote unquote. But he also sort of, said, you're going to die soon, and next binge maybe. There's been a lot of binges since then, since a full year later, and I'm still alive, but he wasn't entirely wrong. The risk is getting higher and higher. So, but the just telling me that and using the traditional Jungian framework just wasn't working for me. So, but I did, and I emailed him just saying, I know that you're not going to reply, but you were right about some things. You were wrong about the die soon part. If you keep binging, and I kept binging, but we're getting there. So, and I just said, I do miss the sessions, particularly, sort of the structure and the framework. It didn't reduce the binges at all, actually. It didn't reduce the whole 12-steppy type thing, and the counting the days and all of that. That doesn't really help, So the sessions, the Zoom sessions, ever since we switched to Zoom, they stopped working for me. But the Zoom sessions, with him, they just didn't work. They didn't help. If that was the purpose, they didn't reduce the binges in any way. But I did tell him that I do miss the interactions with him, and particularly the dream analysis. Because I write down my own dreams. I try to analyze them as best I can. But that was the main part of the sessions. So I missed that. I kind of use that now, but it's okay. I'm not going to hear from him. It's not. We're on different pages, and we're on different pages now. But I'm on a page now. If I don't even know if he's still practicing, but it's been a year, no contact. So I'm just going to, I just wanted to let him know that I'm thinking of him, and that the binge. He was right about the binges getting worse, and they are, But even years ago, I did consider rehab, but that kind of came up during the binge as well. But the whole, I think I mentioned Puss in Boots, and when Puss was in the old lady's cat shelter, cat home, to me that was rehab. That's what rehab is like. But anyway, look, I'm rambling. I'm back. I haven't slept. They've done a vast amount. I mean, incomprehensible almost, particularly for someone my age, over the Saturday, and then again today. Today's was vaster, almost incomprehensible amount of stuff, both substance-wise and activity-wise, So I think it's time that I go to bed, So let me just edit and post, I'm just going to do this like it's going to be a podcast just of the last 2 days, and we'll see if anybody wants to watch it, watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. If the people who follow me, my 20 to 40 people, if you want to see it, I talk about my struggles, and I don't have the financial struggles that a lot of people have, but that's because of certain things, and it was because, he was a prof, and I had savings, and I bought properties, and, I never married or had human children. So at this point, I find myself, I got my cat children, and I got time, and I got resources, and I'm an extreme person, and I'm an addictive personality. And when I explore shadow, I go as far as I can. So, it's true. I mean, I do go really into it because I'm able to, because of certain life choices. I also say that, there were a couple of instances, my house here that I sold at a loss, and the houses I had in Niagara, the 3 houses I had in Niagara. If I had kept, the house in Toronto or the 3 houses in Niagara, I would have been really, really rich now. And in which case, whenever I say this to someone and they know and they see how addictive I am and how compulsive I am, they go, yeah, you're right. If you had like $2 million, in property that you could sell, you'd be dead. And I'm like going, yeah, I know. Okay, I get it. So this is, I've got a situation here where I've got resources, but it's not millions, and there will be a pension coming soon, but a modest one. So I can't really afford. It's a bit of a paradox. I can afford it up to a point because I don't have kids and I never married, and I do have savings, which I'm kind of going through. And I have the country house, and I have this place. So it's like it's a bit of a paradox, but if I don't do something about this addiction, then whatever savings I have, I mean, going to burn through them. It's not millions, So it's key. If it was, if I had all those houses in Niagara's a big drug town too. So, and now those houses are worth a lot. I sold them at, broke even. Pretty much that's what I do with every property I buy, but that's my kind of, non-Midas touch. So, I'm rambling incoherently. So, well, no, more coherently than I was a few hours ago. This is at least I'm putting sentences together that are semi-coherent. So, I'm just going to say, I'm back. Nutty Professor, is not nutty anymore. I crossed that barrier, that line a while back. I'm, the crazy professor, the psycho professor, the super fucked up professor, So I'm I've crossed. The nutty professor was my persona when I was teaching, and it comes out in some of the podcasts, But I'm not nutty anymore, I'm stark, raving, certifiably insane, So just gotta kind of keep out of institutions if I can, and just keep returning for my kids, So from the four of us, and even some people would see my actually literally seeing my kids as kids, not cats, but then cat people do that. And, human childless cat people, the ones I know. They tend to do that. That's just a cat person thing, a non-human child thing, So, and that's the sort of irony, is that because they don't have human children, and, I can sort of afford to take risks and spend, a lot of money on binges. But the irony is that I do come back for these kids, I do try to limit myself, and I don't, I don't go on like a 5-day binge, which would kill me, I go on a 2-day binge, which is just getting the borderline, but I'm getting further and further over the edge, and it's getting harder and harder to return. But I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it my way. The Sid Vicious song again. I should have requested it last night, because punk music and stuff came up. So, but again, I can't remember anything when I'm being one-celled. When you're a one-brain-celled alpaca, you can't really remember songs and things, But you remember your name. So that's what's happening. So we got both the babies here, and we got Agita here. So from Lcee, Finn, I'm not sure which is which, from the two babies, and Agita, and myself, the nuttiest, craziest, borderline psycho, most fucked up professor to ever walk the face of this earth, I'm back again, I've returned. So, keep you posted. So, tomorrow, rest, writing, journals if I can. Wednesday day trip to the house, and I really got to get moving on that, So, and I'm interviewing this, hopefully the second contractor shows up. So, this project, move to the country, so there's that. And Thursday I got to go see my dentist. I still got a really bad toothache. Though when I'm doing bad stuff, I'm kind of anesthetized. Bye for now. See you next podcast. We'll keep you posted. Wish me luck. I said that last time, I guess I had luck because I'm back. Bye for now.